And we are going to talk about her screenplay that just won an award. So I have just invited, all you gotta do is join me. There you go.
Here I am.
There you go. Look at that. The magic. It's like I'm with an award-winning screenwriter. Bam.
Thank you.
Well, congrats. You won the Best Horror Comedy Feature Screenplay Award at Portland Comedy Film Festival Spring 2022.
Oh my God, I'm so excited, and thank you so much. I mean, it's such an honor to be recognized by that festival, by you, and I just really enjoy, and I'm so excited to be able to finally speak to you, even though it's virtual, but I really appreciate it, and I'm very honored.
No worries. Well, we're happy to have you. And I always tell people, they'll come to the festivals. I'm like, oh my God, it's Michael Fair. I'll be like, I'm ready to see you. You're the one who made the stuff. I'm just the dude putting it together.
Well, I'm so sorry I missed the festival, but I am representing today with your Portland T-shirt. So.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Well, if only every screenwriter could be as dedicated as you. I love it. I love it. I love the shirt, and I need to get a shirt and hat myself. For every single event. But exciting times. You're in that genre that we call horror comedy, and I think that film festivals weren't really. When I first started, I couldn't find that genre anywhere. We started putting that into our festivals. And it just blew up, man. Like, I don't know, horror comedy is it's a thing. The movies like, Shaun of the Dead and the tradition of, things like yours about ghost hunters and stuff. It's a popular genre. So I guess the first question is why write a horror comedy? What were you thinking when you wrote this?
Well, I kind of gyrate to those kind of movies, and in fact, Cabin in the Woods is one of my favorites, and I love the stories that have a real twist at the end. I tend to write things that have twists at the end. I love that. I love the horror comedy because I'm not really into the bloody gore horror. I'm more into like the like, I don't know, Sixth Sense, Signs, that kind of horror. So. And it's funny, if you talk to a lot of my screenwriting friends, they'll say that most of my screenplays, for whatever reason, start out really nice and happy, but they always have a dark twist at the end. And so that just happens. And I don't know, I just enjoy writing that. I don't exclusively write that genre. I've written, family adventure drama, sci-fi, rom-com. So I've done kind of a wide gamut, but I'd say most of what I've written kind of falls within that comedy horror genre. So
well, this was good, and it's definitely funny. You've got I always have to ask the screenwriters, did you structure it out because it's like you want to get so many jokes per page? Like you don't have a lot of dead spots in your screenplay. It really does run as a pretty funny comedy. Was that intentional, or is that just you just kind of just started writing and it came out like that, or?
I'd have to say I just started writing and it came out like that. It was very organic. The thing about Camp Nagano is kind of an interesting project. And well, basically, I started writing it in 2018. And I knew that I wanted to write something about ghost hunters because I used to watch the ghost hunter shows, and I really enjoyed that, and I kind of watch it for material. And but then the idea of fake ghost hunters, who have a popular web series, but they fake it all. They put all the sound effects and the creepy voices in post, but yet their audience thinks it's real. And for these people who do this to finally get face to face with their worst nightmare, to me that was something fun.
That's cool. Well, you just broke down the synopsis of the script, so that's pretty awesome. We've had some pretty good ghost hunter stories come through our festivals that gave us that comedy and that horror vibe. I guess the question about yours is, I know that you've written feature length, but is the future plan to make kind of like a series or a trilogy? Is it a one-off? what's kind of your future plan for Camp Nagano?
Well, for Camp Nagano, I would love it if somebody would pick it up and film it. That would be amazing. It's fairly low budget, I would think, and I think it's a fun project. So, I mean, I don't plan on filming it myself, but if somebody came along and was interested in that, I would certainly entertain that.
There you go. So I ask this question pretty often too. At one point in time, every screenwriter, every artist really goes from a point where, hey, I have great ideas in my head, but I'm actually going to put something on paper today. I'm going to take that next step. What motivated you to go from just a person with good ideas to someone who's actually writing screenplays?
Well, I kind of started late in life. I started 12 years ago. And it all kind of started with a seminar I went to at Raleigh Studios. And I don't know if you've heard of Dub S.S. Simmons, but he put on a weekend seminar. And I found out about it through my community college schedule. And I went, and it just clicked. It was like I'm in this room with all these creative people, these writers, directors, actors, and it was like, I don't know, it just clicked. And so like the next day, I think I went and signed up for some classes at the community college for screenwriting. Really enjoyed that. And then I ended up going to UCLA, and I got involved in the UCLA feature film certificate program. And that was all great. That was all like really inspiring. But I'd have to say what really took off, the career for me was getting involved in screenwriting groups. I've been involved in a screenwriting group over 8 years, and they were instrumental in me bringing my pages, hearing my words read aloud. Did it make sense? Was it confusing? All those things, and it also didn't force me, but it inspired me to keep writing, finishing a project. So I think that's how I've gotten through, a lot of my projects is, having that group environment. It's been really great.
All right. Well, that's inspiring. Well, if you were speaking to a production company right now, and they were to ask you the question, where does your screenplay fit in the market? Like, are there some other films, like if we want to judge, how we're going to market this film, and there's a million different types of films, right? You can have Star Wars, or you can have You Got Mail, right? Every movie is different. But if they wanted to ask you, where's Camp Nagano fit in? Like, is there anything similar to it that if we were to produce this thing, it would fit in this market?
Well, I would say that it's kind of in the same vein as Cabin in the Woods. It has, I think, that kind of comedic element. There is some, gory parts, and I know in my screenplay I've got some cool death scenes, and it's kind of moves along and fast paced like that Cabin in the Woods. So I would say it fits kind of in there. It's I don't know if this is a bad thing, but I feel like it's a total B movie in a way, especially my opening scene.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to see it on the big screen, honestly, or mobile device, doesn't matter.
Dylan, the director, just checked in. He said Brothers Grimm. That was
him. Yeah.
Yeah, good one, Dylan. Thank you for contributing.
Well, I was going to say kind of the interesting thing about Camp Nagano is, and I started to mention it, is I wrote it in 2018. And then like a lot of projects, you're right, you maybe get stuck on or something, and you set it aside, you maybe start another project, and then you go back to it with new fresh eyes, and you can move on from that point. So that's what happened with Camp Nagano, is I had started it and written some pages. I had the beats, I'm pretty sure. The reason I say pretty sure is that I decided to revisit it, to rewrite it again last March. So when I went to pull up my files, I couldn't find any files. No final draft files, nothing. And I'm like, I know I wrote this, so I did have a computer issue, and I got a new laptop, but I had loaded all my screenplays onto thumb drives. Went through every single one of them, no Camp Nagano. So now I'm like going, okay, this is really frustrating. So I checked emails and I only found 3 PDF emails that were part of the screenwriting group, and we'd shared pages, and that each email was maybe 10 pages of
wow.
the beginning and 10 pages in the middle, and that was it. So I started just rewriting it from memory, and then I remembered that I really liked the ending. So at one point, I started writing the ending. I wrote the ending and I worked backwards about 20 pages, and then kind of met everything up in the middle. So that was a very unusual way to write this screenplay, but it did take me about a year. I finished it March of this year. So
All right, so.
I don't know what happened to those files. It was very strange.
Well, you reconstructed it, and maybe that's part of the ghost element to it.
Okay,
So
maybe.
hopefully the new product turned out to be, just as good as what you originally planned or better.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess that leads me to my last question is, hey, what do you got next? What are you still working on? What do you got going on?
Right now, I'm doing a second draft of a comedy. It's an R-rated comedy, and it's one that I started when I was at UCLA. I took a class on writing the R-rated comedy, and in that class, I came up with the concept and I wrote the beats. And on this screenplay, at one point, I decided I wanted to challenge myself to write a feature in 2 weeks, and the thought process on that was, if I were to get hired by somebody to write, I wanted to know that I could do it. And so I did. I, wrote it my breaks at my lunch, after work, and I did it. It came out pretty terrible. So that's why we're doing a second draft. We're kind of starting back through it. And when I say we, it's with the screenwriting group, that I bring pages in every couple weeks. But it's called Prude Awakening, and it is about a very career-focused, very prudish DEA agent who's been tapped to go undercover in the porn industry to follow a drug lord. And it's like Miss Congeniality meets the 40-year-old virgin. That's probably how I could describe that.
Well, that's a great sales pitch. Good one. Good one. Well, we're looking forward to checking that out. I'm sure you'll do well. You've done well in festivals throughout the country that we have, different groups of screenwriters. I really appreciate your work, how well refined it is, how you turn in something that obviously has gone through a few revisions, and you worked out some of the bugs. Occasionally we do get first drafts and early drafts of people's screenplays that aren't completely developed, so it really pops off the page when you see something that's just so easy to read and you don't want to put down, and that's how you write. And
Thank you.
That's a special talent. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No worries. So are you, anything else you'd like to add before we get out of here?
I guess what I'm hoping to, for the future is, I hope that my story will, me being a screenwriter later in life will inspire those people out there who may be older and feel like, I can't do that. You can, and if you love writing, you just do it. And I'd say get your stuff out there, put it out there. Don't just write and just write for yourself. Just get it out there to the world. So hopefully I inspire people to do that.
That's great advice, and you will for sure. So thank you so much for your time today. It was good to pick your brain about the screenplay and just about writing in general. So thank you for coming down.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Good to meet you too. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks. Bye.